Well, hello, welcome to episode 123 on this great Thursday. But we're not going to call it Biden land because this land is your land. This land is my land. This land was made for you and me. And he can't take that away from us. Can he? But he's trying. He's trying. Here we are. Danny Thompson here on Countdown to Restoration. Counting down the evil dark days of the man we unaffectionately call the thief in chief. Yeah, the thief in chief. Yeah. Oh man, just guy has a great attitude every day at work. Anyway, we're glad that you're with us. We're going to be moving right along. If you'd like to catch up with all of our earlier shows, earlier being everything but this one, you can find us on YouTube, channel Danny Thompson, Rumble channel DANWT, on a smartphone or device or computer near you. Anyway, this I bring up not just because I'm from Texas, from the old Southwest Conference into the new Big 12 Conference, which never quite made it, because this is what so many people in the country will care about. They will care more about this than they do what's actually going on. And I am a former football fanatic until people started taking the knee. Just did it to me. But anyway, this is the reason. And it's not the SEC's fault. It's not football's fault. It's our fault. We care much more about sports and entertainment more than we do what really matters in life. That hurts our country, folks. And that even helps things like this to happen. Dr. Rachel Levine, that's right, who probably couldn't be a football star, so tried to be a cheerleader. Of course, I'm making all of that up. And if that's your school's cheerleader, God bless you. Yes, but goes to show people aren't really paying attention, because I would care more about this being the Deputy Director of Health and Human Services than I would about where my college football team plays. But Oklahoma and Texas, you haven't been able to beat Alabama, so what does it matter where you go? Come on, let's get real. All right, Dr. Rachel Levine, the poster child for the Biden regime, shows they don't know what they're doing. But we do have Petula Clark to kind of put it in a summation for us.
The buildings reach up to the sky. The traffic thunders on the busy street. Pavement slips beneath my feet. I walk alone and wonder, who am I?
But Petula knew who she was. That's right, Petula knew. You know, Petula knew. Well, we told you about different laws states have passed. Well, judges are knocking them down as quick as they can. Federal judges block transgender restrictions in Arkansas and West Virginia. And don't have time to get into the particulars today, but not good. But sure, Dr. Levine's happy about it, and I'm sure he sent some congratulatory notes to 13 Reasons Why star Tommy Dorfman reintroduces herself as transgender. And actually, he could keep his name, just change the Y to an IE. You know, maybe it's just me, but that looks like a guy with just girly hair. Unlike Dr. Rachel Levine, who looks like a guy with really bad hair. Anyway, all right. Okay. And this from Argentina, which is just kind of sad. We'll get a little bigger, okay?
necesidad de abrir la cabeza para darnos cuenta que hay otras formas de amar y ser amados. Y que hay otras identidades, aparte de la identidad de hombre o la identidad de mujer. Y que deben ser respetadas. Y que existieron siempre, solo que en otros tiempos se ocultaron. La humanidad tuvo que recorrer un largo trecho para entender que habían todos, todas y todes.
Other ways to love and be loved. Other ways to love and be loved. Other genders, other identities other than male and female. There's male, female, and non-binary. Very scientific. But we say this. Dr. Rachel Levine, just picture him singing this.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance.
Bye, Doc. We must move on. He never left you, Argentina. Thanks for rewarding him. That's right. We must go on. Remember to check here, seculardems.org, to find out what's really wrong with the country, because these are the people, their ideas are what's guiding us right now, which if you read it should make you cry. What do you think about it, Johnny? Lots of COVID news, not to least mention the CNN town hall yesterday, which we will delve into some today and more tomorrow. But lots of COVID news due to that pesky little variant, the Delta variant. What do you say, Dr. Walensky? Let's see. Let's get her up here.
The Delta variant is spreading with incredible efficiency and now represents more than 83% of the virus circulating in the United States. Compared to the virus we had circulating initially in the United States at the start of the pandemic, the Delta variant is more aggressive and much more transmissible than previously circulating strains. It is one of the most infectious respiratory viruses we know of and that I have seen in my 20-year career.
Sorry, Doc, cut you off a little quick. That she has seen in her 20-year career. Not good. Keep that in mind, because later Joe lets us know, hey, don't worry about it. Basically. Fully vaccinated, immunocompromised patients should keep masking up as experts probe booster shots, CDC panel. It was just a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, that the White House was saying, no, we don't need booster shots. That's not science. And what did I tell you then? They keep telling us to follow science, but science moves on. Science learns and reevaluates. So they say that like there's always one answer. Well, you know what? If there's not one solid, stable answer on the coronavirus, why is there on everything else? Why is there on climate change? Yeah, well, doesn't matter, does it? Because we follow the science. Some questions on this to Jen today. First of all, why won't you tell us about how many people got the virus after being fully vaccinated, huh, Jen? Why won't you? I mean, will you do that, please? We'd like to know. We are the American people. You said you'd be transparent.
School districts. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Thanks so much. Can you confirm that White House officials are involved in these discussions about whether or not they need to update the mask guidance?
Well, first, the CDC director made clear that was not a decision made. We are regularly in touch and have regular meetings with our public health officials, including the CDC, about how to continue to address the virus. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Those conversations cover a range of topics. But I think the most important thing for the public is that there hasn't been a decision made. It will always be led with public health guidance, and they've made that very clear this morning.
It's just unusual that no one will confirm the discussions are actually happening.
Well, I think because the report on it was a little breathless about what it implied was happening when the CDC director said that's not a decision that's been made. And we want to be clear to the public, nobody is being advised who's vaccinated to wear a mask. That is not what the public health guidelines says.
And is the White House concerned about the messaging aspect of this, given not having to wear a mask is often a perk of being vaccinated that the White House and other top health officials have touted? So are you concerned that if there is a change to the mask guidance for vaccinated individuals when they're indoors, that it would be harder to sell vaccinations, essentially?
Well, there hasn't been a change, and it's pretty clear now that if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. If you are not vaccinated, I don't know, that's a hard word, you should wear a mask according to the public health guidelines. That's not a prediction that the CDC director made this morning. We certainly know that it is important, even as parents, as Karen was asking about before, when you have kids, you're not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask at the playground, or I'm not wearing a mask, indoors. My kids are still wearing masks. That's not terribly confusing to people. So, we'll continue to communicate, convey what the accurate public health guidelines is. Nothing has changed about that. And of course, we have ongoing discussions about how to keep the American people safe.
Obviously, I mixed up the video there, but there are, as we've already shown, CDC panel is not an official ruling yet. They're still looking into it, but they think if you are fully vaccinated, but your immune system is compromised, you have underlying conditions, then what? You should wear a mask. Okay? But the White House doesn't want this message, and the reporters are trying to get to it because there was a report out today that the White House is involved in discussions over this, and yet they say, oh no, it's just science, not us. Now, we do get involved. We hear the discussions, but as you heard at the end of Jen's little cover-up talk there, as we're going to be using that word more and more over the virus cover-up they have, because they are. They don't want it to get out that this is more than they can handle. They don't want people to know. No, even if you've got 2 vaccinations already, this Delta variant is dangerous. They don't want you to know that. They want to keep people showing up for work. More on that part later. All right, now we get into the cover-up over how many people have had breakthrough virus infections from the White House. And why won't you tell us? Why is there a problem here?
You talked about the breakthrough case on the campus here and that you acknowledged there were additional breakthrough cases. Can you give us now the number of breakthrough cases that have occurred during the Biden presidency?
Well, I would say first that our medical experts, our health experts, have been conveying from the beginning, as have we, that there would be cases of individuals who are vaccinated who tested positive for COVID. There are 2,000 people who work on the campus. And of course, so that means that just statistically speaking, there will be people who are vaccinated individuals who get COVID on the campus. What I announced yesterday or conveyed yesterday was what our policy would be moving forward. But no, I don't think you can expect that we're going to be providing numbers of breakthrough cases, no.
Really? That's not transparency to give us a number, not the names, but a number of these cases? You must have that information.
Well, Kelly, I think, one, we're in a very different place than we were several months ago. The vast majority of individuals who are vaccinated who get COVID will have will be asymptomatic or have mild cases. Every individual at this White House has been offered a vaccine, and we have been very clear that we will be transparent with anyone who has had close proximity contact with the president or any of the four principals as deemed by the White House Medical Unit with all of you. And if they approve having their name released, we will also release their names, but we will protect their privacy. That will be our policy moving forward, and we understand and agree that that is in the public interest. Go ahead.
Jen, last night.
I do not know why that people in politics do not learn this lesson. The more you tell people you don't want to tell them something, the more curious they become, and they wonder why you're hiding it. But if they would just come out and say, yeah, 12 people's had breakthrough infections, none of them hospitalized, or this or that, 2 have been hospitalized, we're monitoring it, but 12 out of 2,000, pretty low, but yeah, we're on top of it. Yeah, they must say, 12 people. But now everybody's like, why won't you tell us? What's the problem? What are you hiding here? See, when public officials start to try to tell you what you need to hear, and they tell you, we know what you need to hear, and that's what we'll tell you, then you start wondering, what are you hiding? Why won't you be transparent? But officials won't learn that. I'm telling you, if you are ever president, just tell people, hey, if there's anything bad, just go out and tell them like it's not bad. Don't do the cover-up. Just say, and we invaded a country we shouldn't have today, but we went in because, hey, we needed to cover up some money spending. Everybody will be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. But if you say, we have no plans to invade that country, everybody's going to be like, they're going to invade the country. Why won't they tell us what's going on? Why would you say that? See, they say, I'm going to be transparent, and just go out and tell. But no, they won't learn that. I guess it's good for us that they don't. But why am I not a paid political advisor? I could make millions. Just from being a guy that's watched it from his television and read articles and, different things, observed, just say, stop doing this. Don't do this. Don't do that. Either don't mention it or tell about it. Don't play these games. Don't do things like we're going to find out in a minute. Come out one week, look at these unemployment numbers, and then the next week be quiet. Don't do that. Well, you talk about wanting to build up trust in government. Anyway, I just go on. This is going to upset a lot of people, and they're doing this to get every NFL player to get a vaccination without telling them to do it. NFL says coronavirus outbreaks among unvaccinated players may lead to forfeits this season. So, if you don't have enough people, then hey, you just forfeit. So, no putting it off like they did last year. This man, we've been losing slides off and on the last week. This man, Mr. Slowhand himself, that's right, Eric Clapton says he won't play venues that require COVID vaccines. Man, hey, a rock and roller. Yeah, from the 60s, standing tall, standing true to the cause. I don't know what the cause is, but anyway, you have to admire that. I told you the White House was worried about this just yesterday and today. Believe it or not, in my Facebook news feed, what is this? New York Teachers Union caucus might seek legal action over fall return to in-person learning. I told you they were worried about larger school districts in Democratic-held areas. Sounds like it's like a warlord area. Well, I guess it is. I don't know. Returning to schools, to open campuses and in-person learning, because these teachers don't want to do that. And this Delta variant is enough to allow them room to not do it. I'm telling you, the regime is just up against the COVID wall. And yet no one's saying to them, oh, this is all your fault, like COVID was Trump's fault. But they are trying hard. They're working hard for the American people. Under them, there is no more pandemic, as we'll find out sooner than later. But yeah, teachers' unions are already gearing up to stay home. In this, I know I got a couple of items that are foreign news, but maybe you're traveling to France. And I thought that was just a great shot of the Eiffel Tower and the buildings leading up to it. But France mandates vaccine passport to visit Eiffel Tower and other tourist sites, and restaurants are next. So you're going over there, make sure you've got some proof of your vaccination or you're in trouble. Now, if you have received an invitation to fly over to the United Kingdom to go to distant cousin Elizabeth's English wedding, you better make sure it's still on. Couples are being told to cancel their wedding if pinged by the National Health Service app, and it's happening a lot. The article goes on to say, why would they do that? Because COVID is up, and if there's a major COVID spike in your area, your wedding just got canceled. Wow, isn't that fun? Mask or no mask, vaccinations or no vaccinations. You're going to have to do it over Zoom. Are Zoom weddings legal? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't know. All right, some quick environmental news as we look at the ever stately John Kerry. Man, stands like a statue, doesn't he? The man's a rock. I know, bad jokes, but they're worthy of him. He's a bad person. The Saudi Prince of Oil. The Prince of Oil prices. You didn't know they had a Prince of Oil prices in Saudi Arabia, I bet. I have heard that before, but I must confess I forgot. Vows to drill every last molecule for oil. God or Allah love you. I guess. I mean, way to go, Prince. Yeah. Or is he the head of the department formerly known as Prince? We'll have to wait and find out. I mean, not everybody's going to get that one. I'm sorry. I know. And this will not surprise you. This study coming out of Europe as well. Lots of foreign news here. Men are causing way more climate change than women, scientists say. You know why, don't you? While men purchase, the purchases of men are much less than the purchases of women overall. When men do go out, we buy climate-destroying items. We spend more time on the road, at least in Europe, in cars than women who are more likely to take the train. So in Europe, we buy more gas. Of course, even here in the States, we buy more boats, we buy more lawnmowers, we buy more tractors, we buy more race cars. I guess, I don't know. But we are way more causing climate change than women. Aren't men just horrible? No wonder so many of us are now wanting to join the other team and pretend that we're women. So when they're pointing the climate change finger, it won't be at us. Be like, no, I wear a dress. I'm not causing climate change. Hey, why not? I mean, get to go to Argentina. All right, we're going to have some town hall fun. Let's go.
Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Junction.
Moving slow, there were some freeze moments during last night's town hall. We're not going to get to all the town hall tonight. I will spare you. But we're going to start, rather than with Joe in the town hall, we're going to start with some Hunter Biden artwork. Let's make a deal so no one can take advantage of us through buying artwork from Hunter. There were some questions on that today, as there should be. This deal stinks to high heaven. I swear as a Thompson. I promise you as a Thompson, which will make sense in a minute.
So we now know that Hunter Biden is going to be able to meet with prospective buyers at 2 art shows where his paintings are going to be on display later this year. How does this square with the goal of keeping him in the dark about the buyers of his art as a means to prevent even the appearance of undue influence?
Well, this showing that was that you're referencing was previously public. He's not going to have any conversations related to the selling of art. That will be left to the gallerist, as was outlined in the agreement that we announced just a few weeks ago. We believe this is a reasonable system that has been established that allows for Hunter Biden to work in his profession within appropriate safeguards. So he's not going to discuss anything related to the selling of art. And I would reiterate that the gallerist will be the only person who handles transactions or conversations in that vein and will reject any offer that is out of the ordinary.
Wouldn't it be more transparent to just release the names of the buyers so that everyone would know who purchased this art and how much they paid?
Well, we won't know who the buyers are. Hunter Biden won't know who the buyers are. So I think the origin, I think, of this line of questioning, which is understandable, is about whether this would provide a situation for undue influence. But we won't know who they are. So there's no scenario where they could provide influence.
Didn't they just announce on social media that they bought a painting?
Again, I think we have set up a system which we feel is appropriate, has appropriate safeguards. We believe that Hunter Biden, just like any child of a president, should be able to pursue their professions and their passions. And any selling of the art would be through the gallerist. Go ahead.
As usual, we designed a system that we think will work perfectly for us, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, because anyone will tell you, why not just tell us who buys the artwork, and that way everybody can watch to see what happens. But see, that's why they developed the system. No, we don't want to do that, because then you'll watch to see what happens. And the Bidens need the money. Come on, they're only worth a few mil. They're not like some of the rich politicians in the world. He even needs his presidential salary. And who's going to buy his book when he gets out of office? I mean, really, if he can still write at that time, who knows? No, this system makes perfect sense, just like our decision on how to tell you about breakthrough COVID cases. We know what's best for you people. Well, there was another question by none other than the president of the White House press group or corps or whatever. You know, these press people, they're not pushing on things really. They're not doing gin like they did the poor press secretaries for President Trump. But in their own way, they're like, we're not satisfied with a lot of this. Their own mealy mouse, we want to be nice to you way. It's not that we really care about the truth, but some things just bug us.
If I can ask a follow-up to the question about the president's son and the art gallery events. You said that Hunter Biden is not going to discuss anything related to the sale of his art. Is that a promise that has been made in writing? And if so, is that an agreement that can be made available to the public?
I'm making that clear to all of you now, that is an agreement that has been made as a part of this, as a part of these events.
Is it in writing?
I can check and see if there's more detail.
Thanks.
But I think it's pretty clear what the agreement is, so I'm not sure it's more complicated than that, but I will see if there's more to provide.
Thanks, John.
Oh, don't you just love her dismissive posture? Yeah, because while Hunter is out there talking to prospective buyers, he's not going to kind of pick up on maybe who's interested in his painting of a little red wagon or something, whatever he's painting. I've seen a couple of samples. I don't think they're worth $500,000, but what do I know? I'm sitting here talking into a phone wearing nothing more spectacular than a cheap t-shirt. So obviously I don't understand art. Like Hunter's gonna go, we can trust Hunter not to go out and talk about price and all of that. Come on. And how do you stop the buyers from making it known? Oh, look at me, I bought Hunter's art for $300,000. I have a deal. I'm bidding on this federal contract. Wow. Imagine the coincidences. See, name the people. The White House ethics people should get involved in this. And I realize that's an oxymoron. The White House ethics people. Yeah. Anyway, all right, on to the town hall. But ladies and gentlemen, they're scamming you. Every day they're scamming you. They're telling you, this is what we decided. That's the way they do everything. These people are horrible. I'm telling you, if Trump's people talk like that, I mean, they probably wanted to have the register of who checked into the Trump hotel. If Trump's people would have said, oh, well, we're not going to have people register, and that way nobody will know. Oh, yeah, they're trying to hide things. See how it works? See how this worked? Not good for you, Joe. Because if that had been Trump, CNN would have had super high ratings. Hannity crushes CNN as liberal networks. Biden town hall flops in ratings. Yeah, because same time slot. So Hannity, if you watched him instead of the president, I don't blame you. I don't watch either unless I have to. Of course, I have to watch Joe to do this show or I get fired. CNN's heavily promoted town hall event with President Biden failed to resonate with Americans. They didn't even tune in. How did it resonate? On Wednesday night, as it got thumped by Fox News and even finished with a smaller audience than MSNBC, meaning it was bad. The CNN Biden town hall, moderated by none other than Don Lemon, averaged only 1.5 million viewers. This is the President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen, coming on to talk to us. Questions from real, normal, average people. And yet only 1.5 million tuned in. And how many of them were press and reporters that had to watch? Viewers from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, while Fox News averaged 2.7 million viewers during the same time period. MSNBC averaged 1.6 million sets of eyeballs, which pushed CNN's Chat with the President to last place among relevant cable news stations. I guess where it belongs, because you really didn't get a whole lot of information. Yeah, that's where we want to start. I'm trying not to mess up anymore. And we start with this. This will be eye-opening. Take it away, Uncle Joe.
America, new cases are up three times since last month, right? The pandemic is a big concern. Hospitalizations, death, rising. So you said last month that that the virus is in retreat. Do you still feel that way? Is that still the virus?
Look, it's real simple. We have a pandemic for those who haven't gotten a vaccination. It's that basic, that simple. 10,000 people have recently died. 9,950 of them, or thereabouts, are people who hadn't been vaccinated. This is a simple, basic proposition. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. So it's gigantically important that we all act like Americans that care about our fellow Americans. There's legitimate questions people can ask that they worry about getting vaccinated, but the questions should be asked, answered, and people should get vaccinated. But this is not a pandemic. We've made sure that since I got in office, we've inoculated over 160 million people.
So it's not really a pandemic anymore, as he says blatantly a little later. And if you have questions about this, ask your questions, get the answer, and get vaccinated. It does. I mean, come on. Of course, then he goes into his spiel on what all he's done. Next, we have some real eye-opening information. I mean, I understand everything he does is a sales pitch on this, but their credibility is really waning. Now, when Trump was in, I understand people talked about their credibility, but we were just learning everything. People didn't know. I mean, it was a different ballgame. There's a lot of things we know, and we have seen the Delta variant just move over countries big time. And these people don't want you to think that. In England, they're publishing articles as we showed you. Oh, yeah, of course people are going to die from Delta. It makes total sense. Even when they're vaccinated. Yeah, don't worry about that. I mean, we're dealing with the unknown, but are we? Now, most people didn't catch this, I don't think, but I did. Not that I'm that brilliant. You may think so, but really I'm not. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. This kind of, because aren't we dealing with the novel or unheard of coronavirus? Let's see. Maybe not.
Telling me is let us decide based on scientific data and how we proceed, do it the way we would ordinarily do it. Look, for example, everybody talks about how, this virus came, the drugs that are designed to kill the virus came along so quickly. Been working on it for 2 decades. There's nothing quick about this. It's been over 2 decades. So people say, I'm not taking a drug that was so approved so quickly. It's been 2 decades. The truth is, we haven't said it enough to people to allay their fears. There's nothing, their fears. It's nothing that just happened yesterday and they said, well, let's take a shot on this. And there's a process. Usually the process takes the better part of a year or more to get some of these things decided. But the expectation, they're not promising me any specific date, but my expectation, talking to the group of scientists we put together, over 20 of them, plus others in the field, is that sometime, maybe in the beginning of the school year, at the end of August, beginning of September, October, you'll get a final approval saying the FDA said, no, this is it, it's good. But again, one last thing, we don't talk enough to you about this, I don't think. One last thing that's really important is we're not in a position where we think that any virus, including the Delta virus, which is much more transmissible and more deadly in terms of unvaccinated people, the various shots that people are getting now cover that. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah, I want to stay on this subject.
The man lied. I mean, really, if he was a true Pinocchio, he would have knocked Don Lemon off the stage. I mean, really, it's just, I mean, they've been working on this for 2 decades. What did you remember? Trump, of course, Trump lied. Everybody knows this, anything about the virus. Trump lied, Biden's telling the truth. Come on, Trump said, we didn't know if the vaccines were going to work or not, but we were so concerned, we went ahead, took a chance, and started buying them up before we even knew they were going to work, hoping they would work. Now, this is a pretty big discrepancy, isn't it? I mean, one of these two people really lied to us, either Trump, and it's not Trump. Let me tell you how I know it's not Trump. Because when people are wanting to give Trump fast track credit, Biden would say, they've been working on this for 20 years or more. Trump, all he did was say, hey, yeah, he didn't do anything. He just got up and took credit for it. It was already happening. They said, okay, we think we're close on this. Let's try it. And everything happened from there. But they didn't say that, did they? So Trump must be telling the truth, because these people will tell you every time that they can to put down President Trump. So they've been working on this. It's not new, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe he meant the process. They've been working on the cell-altering process for 20 years. But that's not what he said. And nobody in the press briefing asked about it. Everybody's just like, okay, there's so much. We don't have all the time in the world. And then he said, if you get the vaccination, you can tell he was going a different way with it. Then he just remembers something in his head finally clicked. And he said, oh yeah, if you get the vaccination, you won't get COVID. Well, the vaccinations are shown to only be, at the most, I think I saw today, Pfizer and AstraZeneca, which we don't give in this country because we don't think it's safe enough. Pfizer and AstraZeneca are 88% effective against the Delta variant. We just showed you CDC panel saying if you're fully vaccinated, if your immune system isn't all it should be, you might need a booster. Which again, they told us a couple of weeks ago, no, that's not going to happen. But you won't get it. He lied. He lied or he doesn't know. And you could flip a coin on that one. I'm serious. All right. Now, who else thinks he's not really doing a good job with this? Let's see. Who had the show? Oh, yeah, CNN. But CNN medical analysts disappointed, I would think highly, by Biden's COVID town hall. He led people astray. Whoa, he might have lied, huh? See, it's not just me, a crazy right-wing guy on his phone yelling to the world about how bad Biden is. Now it's CNN's medical analyst, whom I'm sure she will be investigated by the FDA and the, I can't believe I forgot it. The doctors group, anyway. Geez, I feel really dumb. CNN medical analyst Dr. Lena Wen said she was disappointed by President Joe Biden's performance in a Wednesday town hall when it came to his answers on questions concerning the coronavirus and vaccines. Discussing the AMA, American Medical Association. I knew it. Like Biden, it had to kick in from the deep recesses of my brain, which does usually function without medication. Who else could say that that's been on video here today? Discussing the CNN town hall with the panel immediately following the event, Wen felt Biden wasn't meeting the realities of what's happening on the ground. Wow, that's pretty strong coming from a CNN analyst, don't you think? Not meeting the realities. Well, that's what they say about Biden every day, so that's nothing new. In the White House, Dr. Jill says that. Anyway, concerning the virus, that some of his answers to questions were irresponsible and that he led people astray when he claimed vaccinated people were well protected against the Delta variant of the virus. Huh? Uncle Joe? Yeah, because he don't know. Uncle Joe don't know. I'm telling you, Uncle Joe don't know. I mean, I know it's disappointing to you, little tyke.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
I was actually disappointed by President Biden's answers tonight because I actually thought that he was answering questions as if it were a month ago, Wynn said, after host Anderson Cooper pointed out that some of Biden's answers were factually wrong, which means they were wrong. They were only factually wrong. What, so emotionally they were right? I'm not getting that one, Anderson. But most of the time, Anderson's factually wrong. So he's not really meeting the realities of what's happening on the ground, she said, before describing the escalation of cases across the country caused by the Delta variant. And, you know, really no one asked about all of this in the press briefing. I don't get our press corps. They'd been all over Trump. Oh, you can't get the variant. You can't get COVID if you've been vaccinated. They would have roasted the man. Now, this is just under the heading of, what are you talking about? And again, we'll get into more tomorrow, I think, depending on what emergencies may come up.
Not they are entertainers, whether they're just well respected. And by the way, one of the things I've gotten able to get done, I have overwhelming support from the African American clergy. That's I sort of come from, and my sort of support. They are.
He comes from African American clergy. You know, when I look at Joe, I think a lot of things. I never think, I bet he was a black preacher once. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I mean, he comes from African American clergy. That's sort of where I come from. He goes to a Catholic church with a white priest. He comes from African American clergy. Need a Hammond organ behind you there, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, do you really believe the majority of Americans went out and voted for this man? You know, you would just like to think there was voter fraud just to say, we're not that dumb. They had to cheat to get him in. Surely, we can't be fooled this bad. I mean, compared to him, it made sense to vote for Obama. All right, here's a little lie and a little dig on Trump. He had to do it sometime. All right, give him credit for waiting a little bit.
Country. And one of the big issues was dealing with infrastructure. Remember, last 4 years, we had infrastructure week every week. We didn't do a thing, but it's necessary.
President Trump tried to get Congress interested in infrastructure, and the Democrats said no. We're not going to do it. They did not want to give him the win. And plus, they were so busy impeaching him over every little thing, which I don't know if we'll have time to get into it today, but including Russia, that Biden is letting just run around crazy. I mean, I found that highly, I don't know, just who the man is. But he's a Biden, so we can trust him, as we're going to find out. He also went on to say that he wrote the infrastructure bill, or he tried to say it, as he has said before, but then he said, well, I ran on it. I don't remember infrastructure being one of his 3 pillars that he said, but anyway, okay, who cares about that? I mean, if you can't trust a black clergy member, who can you trust? Really? I mean, is that true, buddy? Is it? Yeah, he says. Yeah, amen. Shouting with Joe. Yeah, he knows he was black clergy. Right, he knows it, yeah. All right, this one about when he met with the G7. Boy, he can't get that out of his mind, can he? It was like one of the highlights of his life. Okay, is this it? Yeah, this is just, it's embarrassing, I think. But then he's embarrassing.
Not a joke. You asked, when I went to this G7, all the major democracies, I walked in, and I know a lot of them because of my role in the past. And they walk in, and I said, America's back. And they go, I'm serious, heads of state. I give you my word as a Biden. I said, are you really back? I mean, how can we believe you, Joe, but will the country ever get it together? I talked to...
Number one, why didn't he say, I give you my word as a Reverend Biden member of the black clergy? Number, do you believe that? Do you believe he walked in and said that, and everybody said, are you sure, Joe? Is it true, Joe? We believe you, but can the American public get it together? Do you believe that? I don't believe that. I'm sorry, he has said that before, and I don't believe it. He's lying. They were laughing at him behind his back. And they may not have liked what all Trump did, and they don't have to like what we do. We're a sovereign country. We don't like what they do, and they don't make decisions based on our feelings. But they respected Trump, I'll tell you that. All right, so I think that's all we got of him today, and it's pretty, I understand he has to go prepare for Sunday's sermon. Anyway, no, I'm not going to let that go. It's where he comes from. He's black clergy. Oh, my goodness. If Trump had said that, oh, what do we have? Where are we going? All right. This news will shock you, as I alluded earlier. Remember last week, Jen brought out the chart showing unemployment was on its way down in the moving average. Well, guess what's not on its way down any longer, even in the moving average? Jobless claims unexpectedly rise above 400,000. No chart today, by the way. No talk about the economy today. No, we can't do, last week, yeah, hey, everybody look, what we're doing, the American Rescue Plan and this and that. No, they just bring out, I forgot her name and department, who cares, and tell about more funds going out from the American Rescue Plan. But yeah, jobless claims on the way up, and I don't blame them for not wanting, no administration wants to hear that. The increase takes the weekly number above the critical 400,000 threshold after several weeks of declines. Yeah, we go in the wrong direction. Joe needs to get his congregation praying. The number of Americans filing first-time unemployment claims unexpectedly rose to 419,000 last week. The Labor Department reported on Thursday the number was an increase of 51,000 from the previous week's revised level. I told you it was going to go up, of 368,000. The 4-week moving average was 385,250, an increase of 750 from the prior week's revised average. So everything she went out and touted last week didn't happen. It was just where they thought they were. It wasn't right. That's why I said earlier, don't jump on all this. Be honest. Hey, it's going to take a little while longer. No, not looking good there, Joe, but no talk about that today. U.S. economic growth lost momentum in June, Chicago Fed says. The Chicago Fed National Activity Index fell to 0.09 in June. Let's go into that just a tad deeper. The Chicago Fed National Activity Index, which measures overall economic activity and related inflationary pressure, fell to 0.09 in June from 0.26 in May. That's a pretty big drop. Even in just using my old-fashioned math skills, from 26 to 9, that's enough to make you cry. I mean, if you're a kid and you've got 26 pieces of candy and someone takes down and you just have 9, you're going to be upset, right? Yeah. The index is comprised of 85 economic indicators drawn from 4 broad categories of data: production and income, employment, unemployment, and hours, personal consumption, and housing and sales orders and inventories. In June, 40 of the 85 individual indicators deteriorated from May, while 45 made positive contributions to the index last month, the Chicago Fed said in a news release. But no charts on this today, and I will show you how bad it's getting. How bad inflation is bothering people. China offers oil reserves in unprecedented move to rally on oil prices and to cool inflation. Now, this is big, and a lot of people aren't going to notice this, so pay attention. The country will supply about 3 million tons or 22 million barrels to major refineries, according to people with knowledge of the matter who asked not to be identified as the information is sensitive. The decision is the latest in a slew of measures by the world's second largest economy to rein in skyrocketing costs caused by post-pandemic economic recovery. Now, we're not doing that. We're spending more money. China is saying we've got to stop this. All right, where are we at with time? Okay, we can get into this. And not one question about the unemployment numbers today, ladies and gentlemen. Not one question on how the economy is really doing. What kind of press corps do we have? Why weren't they asking that? Hey, unemployment's up. Last week was revised up. The moving average is up. Jen, something's not right. Can you talk about that? Oh, well, the American Rescue Plan. Well, on the other hand, why ask? Oh, yeah, we already did that one. Why ask? Okay, you may have heard about okay, Tina, go ahead. Okay, I mentioned earlier Trump, being accused, his first 4 years. I say first for a reason. His first 4 years had immediately start fighting claims of being a Russian spy, being the Manchurian candidate. He had start fighting impeachment and everything else and all this stuff. He tried infrastructure, wanted to. The man actually campaigned on infrastructure, and they wouldn't let him. Congress would not cooperate at all. And yet, he was trying to do what? He was trying to stop Russia's new natural gas pipeline to Germany, doing all he could to stop it, impose sanctions, got Congress to agree with him. And the Biden people keep saying, well, what could we do? It was already 90% built. Well, Mitch McConnell had a question, and even Democrats have questions, because who's really watching out for Russia? I wonder. And it's Mitch McConnell, so you're not going to get excited over his speaking abilities.
Different matter. Last year, on a broad and bipartisan basis, Congress passed sanctions that were designed to block Russia from completing its Nordstream 2 pipeline project. The Biden administration recently waived those sanctions to allow the pipeline to move forward. And now it appears the administration has cut a deal with Germany that will allow the pipeline to become operational. The initial press reporting about this deal does not inspire confidence that this administration is taking the Russian threat as seriously as it should, nor does it indicate that we're standing with our Ukrainian partners who are struggling to defend themselves against Moscow's aggression. The administration appears to have ignored the border implications of the Nord Stream 2 project and Russia's approach to Europe writ large. Green energy initiatives or promises of diplomatic meetings will not address the real risk Moscow passes. Not even close. Just a couple of years ago, Washington Democrats were absolutely melting down over their belief that the prior administration was being too soft on Russia and leaving Ukraine in the lurch. Where's the outrage today? For several years there, my colleagues across the aisle sounded like big-time Russia hawks. So I hope they'll now join Republicans in pressing the administration to explain this curious decision. to explain how President Biden intends to impose meaningful costs on Moscow for all its misdeeds. At the same time, they have America greasing the skids for this Putin pipeline. Now, one final matter. Next week, President Biden is...
Yeah, the Putin pipeline. I liked it there, Mitch. See, he talks tough. I told Putin. Oh, yeah, you get your pipeline. Sure, we want to make sure you get billions of dollars off sending harmful natural gas that's destroying our way of life, so they say. I don't think that's what they say. We want to make sure you get all the money you can from that so you can keep building up your military and hacking our computers while we talk mean to you in front of the public. Well, Mitch, it's not only you. There are some Democrats very upset with this. I'm not happy about it. Dems torch Biden's Russian pipeline deal. President Joe Biden is facing bipartisan backlash. Oh, the old bipartisan backlash to his administration's agreement with Germany that allows a controversial Russian natural gas pipeline to be completed. And Jen has been asked on this. She keeps saying, oh, we're following the law, but the pipeline was already 90% completed. What were we supposed to do about it? Well, it didn't start under Trump. President Joe Biden is facing bipartisan backlash to his administration's agreement with Germany that allows a controversial Russian natural gas pipeline to be completed, arguing that the deal is a boon to Moscow at the expense of Ukraine. And Ukraine has a lot of allies in Congress. And of course, I don't understand. Why doesn't Ukraine just come forward with all the money they gave Biden and Hunter? That would probably stop this all. Biden and his deputies have long been at odds with members of Congress on the pipeline, known as Nordstream 2, with lawmakers overwhelmingly approving a state of mandatory sanctions aimed at crippling the pipeline over geopolitical and environmental concerns. It's not, and this is not over, we see it differently, this is over law. These sanctions were passed by Congress and signed into law. And Biden just decided, we're not going to do it. The president waived many of those sanctions earlier this year as part of his broader efforts to repair transatlantic alliances with countries like Germany, which has been pushing for Nord Stream 2 to be completed. And on Wednesday, the U.S. and Germany announced a deal aimed at mollifying Ukraine, which stands to lose the most from the pipeline's completion. I'm not happy about it, said Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia, a member of the Senate Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committees. I'm not happy about it in terms of the Russia politics, and I'm not happy about it in terms of climate change. Yeah, how come we're shutting down pipelines here, Joe? Senator Jean Shaheen, Democrat, New Hampshire, who co-authored the sanctions regimen, said, should be regimen, and they have it regime, said she was skeptical that the agreement will be sufficient when the key player at the table, Russia, refuses to play by the rules, because none of these are rules on Russia. It's not they gave rules to Russia. The Biden administration has effectively concluded that the pipeline will be completed regardless of whether the U.S. moves to stop it. The agreement struck between the U.S. and Germany seemingly puts the onus on Germany to ensure Ukraine, which has suffered the brunt of Russia's aggression under Vladimir Putin, doesn't feel abandoned by the pact. Already, though, Ukraine is hammering the U.S. and Germany for its resignation on the effort to stop the pipeline. Yeah, that's the way you treat your friends. Well, Ukraine, Germany gets really cold in the winter, even with climate change. Senior administration officials describing the deal said Berlin will appoint a special envoy to help Ukraine negotiate an extension of its gas transit deal with Russia beyond 2024, because you poor Ukrainians can't even negotiate the current expiration year. Germany will also create and administer a $1 billion green fund for Ukraine to support its energy transition beyond fossil fuels with at least an initial $175 million commitment, meaning that's all you're probably going to get, Ukraine. Ukraine needs that money because it stands to lose billions should its transit contract with Russia end, which it's going to, because they won't need the old pipeline anymore. There will also be a 60 million euro resilience package. Boy, that's a new word, isn't it? I mean, it's not a new word, but in usage, effectively to protect against cyber attacks. And Germany will enhance its engagement with the 3Cs initiative, a key forum for Central and Eastern European nations to discuss regional matters. Wouldn't you feel all warm and fuzzy if you were the president of Ukraine, hearing all these good things they're going to do for you? The commitment is designed to ensure that Russia will not misuse any pipeline, including Nordstream 2, to achieve aggressive political ends by using energy as a weapon. Who thinks Russia would do such a thing? I mean, do we not know Vlad by now? Mr. Warm and Fuzzy himself? Oh, give me a hug, you big old funny Ukrainian president. Let's go have a vodka together. I mean, this is Vlad we're talking about. He would never use energy as a weapon. The U.S. and German governments wrote in a joint statement. I think they wrote it after smoking a joint. Meanwhile, Ukraine has been caught in the middle of the pipeline fight. Ukrainian officials have said they believe the pipeline can still be stifled, and that the U.S. should take action to ensure it never gets completed. Well, you would think. Donald Trump was. The Biden administration has been trying to keep Ukraine at bay as it scrambles to contain the fallout. Politico reported on Tuesday that U.S. officials have urged Ukrainian officials to stay quiet, just like they urge female athletes to stay quiet about male athletes participating in their sports, huh? Yeah, same thing. To stay quiet about the pact with Germany, warning that public criticisms could damage the U.S.-Ukraine relationship. Now, see, that should be investigated. Come on. U.S. has also asked Ukraine to refrain from discussing the matter with Congress, where Kyiv has plenty of allies. But they're not going to discuss that. No, they're not going to look into that and say, oh, President, that's not the way to do business in the U.S. We don't pressure our allies like that and threaten them, and they can't talk to Congress. If that came out that Trump had did that, we would have another impeachment going. I mean, you know we would. What do you think, Charlie? Yeah, it's that old God formation time. Yeah, just tell you. That about the schools came about quick, didn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, they gave good marks to the show, even though not many people watch. And that's how the staff sees it. They see it as a show. They know the truth. They know that he thinks that he is doing it, but he is only riding their effort. He has nothing but moments in the spotlight. That's the way they look at our feared and respected commander-in-chief. It's their puppet. He's their clown. And that's the way they look at him. How's the rest of the world supposed to look at him? They are worried about the infrastructure deal, but can't get Schumer to see the light. He wants to show everyone that he is the boss, but he is a small part of it all. They want him to be more of an influencer and not so much of an enforcer. They know that there are votes that can be swayed either way, and Schumer's not helping them. You just got a lot of people involved that don't don't understand what's really going on. Even on the Democratic side, they don't understand what this regime is. And that's why we exist, ladies and gentlemen. Although our effort may be small and obviously not seen by enough people, we try to shed some light on the darkness of the Biden regime. And that's why we come every day counting down to the days of restoration when we're no longer burdened with this horror being inflicted upon the American public and even the world. Poor Ukraine. Just being... Oh, pray. What else? Pray. Make your voice heard. God bless America. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Share. Let other people know. I think there's some good stuff on here. If not, let me know how to make it better. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.